Hello everyone, in this video I'll be showing you the most overpowered dual blades build in Wuchang Fallen Feathers. You can clash with the enemies really easily with this weapon. It shreds down bosses, you can get an incredible amount of lifesteal, and it generates skyborn might extremely quickly. My two favorite weapons here are the twin bandits and the firearm blades, although you can also use things like the bitter severance or the thunder's call depending on the bosses. Now, the thing with dual blades is there's only a few special effects here. So just above my head here, you can see using a temperance to buff lightning damage makes the effect more potent. So for the Thunder's Call, this is great against bosses that are weak to lightning damage. And with the bitter severance here, this is boosted by a poise break, which is like this game's version of bleed, despite the name sounding a little different. The twin bandits, though, I think is one of the best weapons in the game because it gets the block ability, and with Blade Master, you're pretty much unkillable. The block is extremely generous here, so use this on any type of weapon attack that comes in your way. Anything that's like a punch or a beast attack, I would recommend dodging away instead. But you also got the Blade Master skill, which you can use to further buff up your weapons and generate skyborn might, clash, and lifesteal extremely quickly. Twin blades being one of the best weapons in this game, there's actually a skill tree point for this weapon, and the firearm blades being a very flashy weapon. So these are my two preference. Now, the best weapons or armor in the game is going to be dependent on the bosses. Some bosses deal feathering damage or magic damage, while others will be dealing piercing damage. The best late game armor set is the Ghost Warrior set, which you can purchase from Wuchang. Early game, the Centipede armor, you can always transmog it to make it look different. And then the Ming armor in the mid game are some of the best. As for pendants, the Tiger pendant's always going to be good. Increasing physical damage is always a nice thing. And the Fiend Felling pendant is great against a lot of bosses in this game that are in a larger size, so I'd be using both of these if the boss is large. I like the Twin Infant pendant here for increasing stamina recovery, although you can always go with the Draco Lich pendant as well if the boss has any type of roaring attacks, because getting flinch is possibly one of the worst things. I've pretty much always had this one equipped as well throughout the game. And if you want to go with more of a spell casting focus, there's ones like the Sun Pendant that increases your spell potency. We generate Skyborn Might really quickly, so it may be worth speccing into that using the one-handed skill tree of the one-handed swords. But a lot of these are dependent on the boss and the damage type you're going to be dealing. As for spells, some of the absolute best spells in the game are ones that we get early on. The Echo Lu Hong Liu here is actually really good because it can stun some bosses. And what's nice about this is if you, let's say, did a backstab attack, so you got a critical off behind an enemy, it broke its posture, attacked it, you can then use this, stun it again, and do the same thing all over again. It somehow refreshes it. Only works on certain bosses. The Echo Lu Bing Zhang here is actually also extremely useful. There's a skill tree that will reduce its cost to only 2 Skyborn Might. It's a feathering spell, or feathering, so you want to have high feathering stat, but this gives you another dodge, so you can attack, get your clash off, jump away with this, and then heal. That's a good strategy to use. If you need burn buildup, Burning Flames magic is really good, or the Infernal Flames here, which has a tracking mask. Both of these have been pretty effective too. I also really enjoy, once you get to the mid game, the Ethereal form, as this will give you a free, basically you can get hit once for free. So that can be really good against some bosses that hit very hard. And then the best spell in the game is the Echo of Magus here, which gives you the ability to just get hit a few times. It creates a barrier around your character. This is what we want to build up and work towards, but Ethereal form is great too in these other two spells early on. Use your items, especially the Plume Branch, because you're going to be burning through these, or you're going to be able to get these for free at any type of shrine here. It will build up your madness, but staying at 90% madness is actually pretty good here, so you can always invoke. I would recommend grabbing the Plume Branches, which gives you 5 stacks of Skyborn Might. As for Benedictions, these can really make the weapon because there's one that's absolutely broken. Now, the ones that increase your damage dealt with multiple disciplines, so this one increases skill damage. If you have 3 discipline skills, is really strong because this will stack actually with another one here, which we have 9 disciplines. There's one for 6. 2 of these will give you a plus 55% to your damage, and then there's another one here. If you get 12 disciplines by stacking them together, it further increases your damage. Having all 3 of them is extremely useful. However, there's one that stands above the rest here. Gaining Skyborn Might endows your attacks with a life leech for a very short moment. So when you get Skyborn Might, you then are able to lifesteal too. That's crazy. So even if you don't have the temperaments on here, you're going to get the lifesteal off. And that's what makes the weapon so powerful. When we get to the skill tree, extremely effective. As mentioned, the best skill for or discipline for the twin blades or any dual blade is, I would say, the Blade Master. This is something you can use without having to use it as an attack. It boosts up your attack speed, you get lifesteal on your attacks, and you can clash to restore health. Whenever you clash, you restore health. So you're constantly going to be tanking through enemies' fights. The Blade Dance skill is okay too. This is a good early game one. I like it a bit more than the Sudden Strike there, but some people like both of these. It just depends. Blade Dance does have a 3 Skyborn Might cost, whereas Blade Master only has a 1 Skyborn Might. So I like using this. This makes you gain Skyborn Might even quicker, and then you can use it to cast spells. So my character level's at 96 right now, but I'm going to take you through the full leveling. If you're starting at level 1, I would actually recommend first level to grab the Clash, because Clash is just such a core principle of this build. So this is always the first thing that I go for. And then I think it's good to just be able to get yourself health potions. Always max these out whenever you do, same as weapon upgrades, because they don't cost any extra. And then it's best for us to continue down here. So this is like the first 10 levels. Getting the Unmatched, you can consume 1 Skyborn Might to quickly strike with charged heavy dual blade attacks. Really useful. And then 4th attack of a dual blade light attack combo grants 1 Skyborn Might if it hits an enemy. Another thing, we need to generate Skyborn Might. That's a super useful one. After that, we're going to move over to the Blade Master here. Gives us 1 Skyborn Might, and then we can continually keep building it up. Always put this on your weapon right away. It's annoying respecking and losing it. And then this increases the duration of it, and this one, Restoration Effects, becomes more potent above 90% magic. Madness. This is why I said it's important for us to grab a lot of plume branches every time they're... Just get your madness up. It's worth it in this game. It's the core principle. Endurance up, I always like in these +5. The more endurance we have, the more we can move around. And at this point, I think it's best to continue up the skill tree. And around this point, actually, we might want to not take those and instead go into this skill tree, because getting heals is going to be super useful. And actually continue on this way here. Once you get the deflect, this is where we're going to want to use this. So once you get the twin blades, that's when you're going to grab Steel Resolve. Prior to that, we're just going to continue down the tree, and this can give you extra health on 90% madness or above, the final hit of a light attack combo. Grab that too. As mentioned, we want to get as much lifesteal as possible, and then we're going to go up here, and this will give you the deflection. You should have the twin blades around this point, or if you don't, ignore that part and continue down here. Recover a small amount of stamina upon gaining Skyborn Might, and we want to gain as much as possible. More stamina means we can attack more frequently. And at this point, we unlock the ability to grab different temperaments. So go up here, above 50% temperance increases the effects. And we want to actually go down here and grab the Leech. And Leech will give us the lifesteal on the attacks, which is just absolutely broken on this build. And at this point, I think you got what you need. These 2 stacks will make it so that you deal a bunch of lifesteal. And then we're going to continue on this tree here. We're actually going to come up to around here. And what we want to do is get this skill here. Charge attacks gain Clash. Go down, and then we're going to always grab these because these are free. Just uses the feather items that you grab. 6th attack of a light attack combo gives you Skyborn Might. So the 4th and the 6th attack, and you can charge them up to do heavy attacks, which will clash. Combines really well. The 4th, 5th, and 6th attack can get Clash. Clashes gain 1 Skyborn Might. Yeah, this entire skill tree is such a big buff to this weapon. It's insane. And then it's actually good to continue over this way, successfully deflecting an attack with the Twin Bandit skill block. Cause the enemy to expose their vulnerability, which is great because then you can go in for another attack, or you can try to get behind them and get the backstab and critical hits off on them. Very useful. And at this point, it's probably best to continue back around here, because we want to grab this. Dual blade dash attacks gain Clash. So if you use the dodge attack, which is nice on this weapon, this is going to be a super useful one, because then you can also clash on that, which gains up our Skyborn Might. And we're also going to continue all the way down here. Ignore the magic. That's kind of a trap, because if we want magic, there's a better way to invest in it. And this will just give us our increased dual blade mastery. We want to always be maxing that out whenever possible. And we're going to be using, again, this skill. But if there's other skills you like, try them out to see if it fits your playstyle. I just think Blade Master is by far the best for the lifesteal and just immortal build. The Whirling Fury can be nice here. This skill will give you a bit extra momentum and movement towards the enemy, but I found it's just not as good as some of the other skills. We can then come up around here, grab more endurance and agility, which is going to further increase the amount of damage that we're dealing. And always just max out the weapon whenever possible too, because that's something that we definitely need. At around this level, I think it's best to continue back into this part of the skill tree, because there's a lot of really useful abilities here. Like, you can get increased uses of your temperaments, which is super useful. And then Acupoints allows you to apply additional effects onto your temperaments. And then we're going to run down here, increases Skyborn stacks, which is useful. This one here is super useful for when we use the Echo Bow Magus, or for fighting demons. You can see there, that spell there is actually super useful against demons. Whenever you do 4 or more Skyborn Might, you're not interruptible. So this can cast your spells without getting knocked down. And getting knocked down, as you know, this game is very brutal. Above 50% madness, you get increased feathering attack power. This is only useful if you have feathering on your weapon, so you can ignore that. Grab the additional temperament charges. Buff up your heals, because that's super useful. And then right here is you get an additional Skyborn Might, and then we get a fun ability. So this heavily dependent on what you want to build around. So if you're using more of spells, then go on to the magic side, the upper top side. If you're using featherings, I like the Echo Lu Bing Zhang here. Go into feathering, take both the +5s. This is a big boost to our spell casting. Depends what spells you're using though. At that point, I think it's best to actually, once we start investing into magic, go into the single tree here, and we want to get more disciplines. The thing is, the benediction that gives us increased damage with the additional disciplines, we already got 5 of them here from the weapon skills, so you get 6 and then 9 just by going to other trees. So they're oddly enough worth grabbing just all the disciplines here just for the increased damage. With the one-handed tree, we're actually just going to go right to here. And then again, if you built around magic, take the magic stat and go around here, which will give you the +5 again, and then another +5, and then it gives you agility. Agility is, again, it's our most important stat for damage, so the one-handed sword works perfectly here. This gives you more skyborn might, I'd argue, but this one is just more effective with just staying alive. At this point, we can go down and take the, go into the spear tree here, and then grab the +5 to agility. You can also go into some of the others if you want to take extra strength from the one-handed sword, or the great axe will also give you the endurance and vitality. So if you need a little bit more survivability, go here, take those two. It's good to invest a few into the other skill trees because just the stat buffs from a small investment are so large. It's better than taking just the +1s, which you can do, like grabbing additional agility there. Filling out the trees is nice. Don't take the skills, just take the disciplines for the huge damage boost that you get from the benedictions. Grab that +5 to strength. So just filling out our tree as much as possible by grabbing the skill points here. And this will put us at around level 100. Depending on how many enemies you've taken out and got extra benediction points, we can actually go back, grab the alacrity and above 90% madness. Biding time does not go below 5 stacks. Really just start filling out this side of the tree and getting all the different effects here. We'll get additional acupoints, which are super useful to buff up the weapon. You can then take either the magic. This is late game options, so you don't have to get that too early on. And then we'll just go around here and fill out, I would say, the great axe for if you want more endurance and survivability here, or if you wanted to more damage, we would go into the spear or the one-handed sword here for the last few points. But this depends on how many boss or red-eyed enemies you fought. When it comes to combat, we can become immortal by using the Echo Bow Magus here, and then also using the Blade Master. So that's going to buff up our attacks. We then go ahead with this attack here, which makes us invincible. And then you just go to shredding. Every time you get Skyborn Might, you get Leech on your weapon, so then you just continually keep dealing more and more damage. It's insane. You can literally face tank bosses, especially if they have any type of weapon attack. So we got our Madness Demon here as well. So cast your spell, the Echo Bow Magus just makes us invincible there. And then we can go against attacking and gaining our Leech ability here. You can also obviously apply the temperaments here and get that damage that way, but then you can see our health will never go down. You can just continually press R1. This shreds into bosses as well. You're continually gaining the Skyborn Mights as well too, and it's just an absolute insane build. So always have Echo Bow Magus up, or the Ethereal form if you're earlier in the game, because you can just see there, we don't take any real damage. We're invincible, and then we also just attack through the enemy. You just spam R1. It's insane how powerful this build is. You don't really have to think too much. You just survive, and your health will continually keep coming back up. Now, let me know what kind of other builds you'd like to see for Wuchang Fallen Feathers. I think this is possibly one of the strongest in the game. It's just absurd how much damage and also survivability it has. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the subscribe button below. Hope you have a great day, and we'll catch y'all in the next video.